Good morning, everybody. It's Big Dave, and it is time for the 100 Hug Stories for the last 100 days of 2023. Before I begin, I want to thank everybody for, really not just, looking at my posts, but also sharing them, following me, and just appreciating this little this little podcast of goodness, this little nuggets of about hugs and what a hug can do in the world. And I just really want to say just thank you. Really, it means a lot. This is about my 40th post, and I'm excited. I have a whole lot more stories, so don't worry, I'm not losing steam or anything like that. But I just wanted to say just thank you. In today's story, we're going back to 2005 to Sudan. We're going to Wadi Halfa, Sudan. And we had just finished, I was on my bicycle trip where I bicycled through Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, Malawi, Zambia, Namibia, Botswana, and South Africa. And once we were in Abu Simbel, Egypt, we took this ferry, which really was not even a ferry. It was just like a barge. It was a metal platform that floated down the river to Wadi Halfa, the port of Wadi Halfa, Sudan. And because there were 30-something cyclists, about maybe 5 or 6 other administrators and stuff, and all of this gear, it was just a bureaucratic nightmare at the border. And it was just people, we were just stuck there for hours. And while I was there, I guess word had spread that there was not only this international crew of cyclists coming, but there was also, I guess word had spread around town that there was a big black American. And I got to tell you, the WWF is huge, or the WWE is huge all over the planet. And word had spread that there was a big black American, and a lot of people assumed that I was a professional wrestler. So these two brothers came down. The next morning, that night we spent the night, our first night in Sudan, in this big schoolyard. Had a big soccer field there. It was huge. This big enclosed soccer field. And in the morning, there were these brothers that were walking around, and I could see them. They were just talking to people, and everyone's pointing over in my general direction. And so these guys eventually made their way over to me, and they just stood there and stared at me for a little while. And then after a while, we started speaking through broken English, and they were asking me, was I a wrestler? Because they started doing some wrestling moves, and they said, do you know Booker T? Booker T? And I said, yeah, I know Booker T. Now, what I'm saying is, I know of Booker T. What they're hearing is, I know Booker T. So these brothers were happy as shit. They were like, oh. So they were just happy. They were clapping. And so I said, yeah, I know Booker T. I was like, can you dig it, sucker? And when I did that, that's Booker T's famous line, can you dig it, sucker? And when I did that, they were like, Mr. Sucka, Mr. Sucker. So these brothers kept calling me Mr. Sucker, and I kept having fun with it. And I was like, can you dig it, sucker? And so I kept repeating that. And so these dudes decided to spend the first week with the tour. They weren't affiliated with the tour in any way. They were just hanging out. And so they hung out with the tour, and they helped the guide, our Sudanese guide. They helped unload stuff, and they helped, translate. But really what they did is these guys did everything for me. Every day when I came in, we had our little red box with our suitcase, with our sleeping bag and tent and all that stuff. Every day that I came in for the first week, my tent would be set up, my sleeping bag would be there, and they're like, Mr. Sucka, Mr. Sucker. Like I was royalty, like I was, like I was really somebody. And so it was funny hanging around these guys because all I had to do to make them happy was just every now and then throw in a "Can you dig it, sucker?" And so it was funny. And so I was sad to see them leave because these guys were like, these guys were the shit, helping me out and stuff like that. But they left, and so one last time I said, "Can you dig it, sucker?" And they just laughed and hugged me, and it was just a beautiful moment, and it was great. So sometimes you see somebody famous, or somebody mistakes you for somebody famous, and they hang out with you for a week, and it's awesome. So with that, I say, "Can you hug it, sucker?" And I just want to again say thank you. I hope you enjoyed this story. I hope you enjoy all my stories. I hope you have a wonderful day. And be well, everybody. Can you hug it, sucker?